back to my studio. This is Emma. Good morning to you, or good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time of day it is. It might be the middle of the night, I don't know where you are. I don't know what time of day you watch this, but it's coming with love from me to you, and I hope you've had a peaceful week. I hope you're well, and I hope you're being able to be creative, whatever you're doing, whether you're creating delicious food for your families, or choosing what lovely clothes to wear, or creating things in your garden. Whatever you're doing that's creative, it's just lovely to be here with you. Thank you for sharing this space with me. Thank you for making what I do have a huge value. It's a value to me that I do it, but if it's being valued by other people, that's great too. If it's inspiring you, if my films relax you, bring you relaxation, inspire you, that's just wonderful. I'm so grateful. Don't forget to leave me a comment, because it's always lovely to connect with you wherever you are in the world. It's very exciting to me. I still think the internet's an amazing thing. So it's interesting. I think I mentioned last week I've been darning my jeans again, and I'm always repairing things. I found this bag, right? This is a bag that I made quite a long time ago, and I decided I wasn't going to keep it anymore. I'd actually put it to go out. And then I looked at it again, and I thought, actually, I really like this bag. It's just made from, I think it was a dark blue linen skirt that I had. And what I did was I made it one year when I went on holiday to put my sketchbook in. It's just a really simple little bag. It's got a little pocket on the front, and the button had come off. I decided, because I was going to get rid of it, I took the button off. And then, isn't it weird how you change your mind? I looked at it again, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to keep you. You're really lovely, you're really simple, you're right where I am at the moment. And it's very odd, because the colour I chose for the button is this lovely autumn brown colour. And I think it's very interesting, because it's obviously the colours that I'm kind of feeling at the moment, which is these very dark ones. These dark sort of sombre blue, brown colours are very satisfying. So I'm pleased. It's like welcoming back an old friend, and it's really lovely. I think it's really interesting how something you thought actually had no value, when you choose to look at it again, when you come across it again, sometimes actually it goes, hey, I'm still of use to you, please rescue me, please make me better, please, take me back into your fold and use me. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I don't know how or when. I've just had it hanging up on the wall, actually, next to some orangey, rusty coloured picture that I had on the wall. And again, it was those colours. The colours just came to me to make this tranche of samples. I just love these. I think life is full of surprises. If you'd asked me a few weeks ago, was I going to make something in dark blue with like oranges and brown tones going on it, I would have said, well, I've no idea. I've just been working in pink and green. I've been in the summer mode, and suddenly, I don't know, isn't it funny how things just change inside you, and you just go, oh, actually what I really crave is a bar of chocolate, or I really crave these particular colours. I don't know what it is. I think often around here what I see in the landscape influences me greatly, so I will go, as I've shown you, on my little walk each day, and the colours, I think when you're kind of sensitive to colours anyway, particular things stand out depending on the light. And around here you get a lot of this very dark, I call it sort of indigo colour. In fact, it's probably this sort of shade. And you get the mountains, and you get these browns, and you get these russety colours coming together. And I see it in the landscape. And sometimes you even get a really bright flash of lime green, don't you, with that sort of dark mountain colour. And it's really lovely. It's really different. A lot of it's green, a lot of it's grey, but when you get that sort of flash of this sort of dark blue, it just really makes everything stand out. And I'm thinking about berries. I'm not sure whether we might do something with berries today, but we will see. I'm going to get over to my table next, and we'll see what we're going to do and what we're going to create today. What we're going to do today with this little piece, okay, and if you haven't seen this before, it's got a piece of dark blue lining fabric, and then it's got a little piece of quite thick curtain interlining. It's just like a nice wadding or a batting that you'd use for quilting. And then there's a piece of tearaway stabilizer. So that's very nice, small size, doesn't take a lot of stitching. I like to work small-ish for sampling. I have worked smaller, I can work smaller, but you need it big enough to give you a little bit of chance of actually doing something. So what I'm thinking of is this. So what I'm thinking of is doing something based on these lovely, these are seed heads, and actually in reality they're kind of a whitish creamy colour, and I'm thinking I just want to do something with these lovely shapes and some stitching, and we'll see what it looks like. So let's go over to the machine and see what it's going to turn out like. Okay, so here we go. I've just got a normal thread in, and I've chosen quite a bright colour so we can see it. It's not the colour it is in nature, but then heck, neither is this blue really the colour you'd see in nature. So let's just see how it goes. I'm starting at the bottom. I don't quite know why, I just am. And I'm just going to do some long shapes. See what I feel. This is very much, I'm thinking about what I saw and I'm just stitching to see how it feels, what comes out. So we'll just cut this off and I'll show you what that's come up with. Now you see, isn't that fun? I mean, that could be anything. It could be seaweed even. But I've just really enjoyed the freedom of doing that with that colour. So I think what I might do is do another colour, a different coloured thread for this next piece. I'm going to do the same thing again, but I'm going to use a different colour. There we go. Right, okay, so same again. And I'm just going to have a go and see what happens. So, final thread for this one is I'm going to try this thicker one now. I was going to use this one to start with, but I decided it was a bit too much with this fabric being so bumpy. I didn't want to sort of upset my machine, so I'm going to put this on now. Now it's held down a bit, and I'm just going to put a bit of this on top. And I'm just stitching this slowly because it's quite thick. Okay, so there we go. That's what this looks like. Isn't that interesting? I am kind of blown away by that. I'll show you the back. Again, really simple stitching, just lots of lines up and down, up and down. No degree in anything required to do that stitching, just a bit of practice and then the ability to move your fabric around and let your machine do the work. So I really like the way that has kind of come to life. I think the dark background just lets these colours really shine through. It's like fire, it's the colours of fire. It's letting the autumn colours really come through. And if I put a little, I'll just put those out of the way a minute. If I put a little thing on the top of it there, put a frame on it, you can see that's quite easily something you could just hang on your wall, I think. It's quite pretty. Okay, so I'm thinking what I'd like to do next is set up another little square, again with my interlining here and a piece of stabilizer, and I'm going to use this colour. This is some lining fabric. I've got absolutely masses of it. I must have bought it for a job years ago that I was going to use it for. Who knows what I was going to use it for, so I'm just going to mess around with it and use it for this because I feel as though it's quite a nice autumny colour. And so let's bring in some threads now and see. I've got two little bowls going on here because I just felt like I wanted to get lots of different colours out because I don't quite know what I'm doing. So I've got these blues and oranges again and these lovely sort of golden colours, orangey colours, copper colours. I just love them, so I'm going to pick some out, I think, to go with this. And I'm feeling like maybe I need something in the blue again. It'd be quite nice to do something really dark maybe. Or would I use maybe a dark brown and then add in some of these copper colours? You know, do I want to put some vibrant orange in with it? I quite like these sort of shades together. I don't know. We'll take it over to the sewing machine and I'll make a choice when I get there. I can't quite decide what to start with. I think the important thing is I start. So here we are back at my sewing machine. I'm just working out where I'm going to start. I think we'll start down here. I decided in the end I have put in the dark blue that I've got. Sort of, it's like navy, but it's almost black, but not quite. So we're just going to have a go with this and see what happens. I suppose I could turn the light on, that would help, wouldn't it? I think I'll take both of those out now, actually. There we go. I kind of do a line like that, and then I feel as though that holds the fabric in place, and I don't need to worry. Off we go. It's funny, I feel as though this is much more exposed on here, and also I don't know if you can see, I think perhaps I need a slightly smaller needle in here. It's kind of puckering the fabric a little bit, but that's just adding texture, I guess. We'll see how it goes. Which would you go for? I think this one has a quality that's different to this. This one's a bit dull. I think we'll go for this one. This seems to sing. We'll go for this one. What I love is the freedom of doing this. It's just wherever you go, it doesn't really matter. I'm just stitching, and I think it's making a really lovely kind of quilted surface here. Really like that. So I'm going to choose one final colour, which I'm going to sort of pop on in the middle and see how that goes. I don't know if you can see, but I've chosen that lovely thick thread again, and I think that really makes a difference to the surface. It's really good for putting on top of these other colours, but I am doing it very slowly and carefully because it is quite thick. So there we go, that's what it looks like. Now I've finished stitching it, I'll show you the back. It's actually nice on the back as well. Isn't it funny? Every way you do these things, every colour you could possibly choose, I'm sure would look just as good and just as interesting, and each one for its own merits. You know, each one's got its own merits. I really like this thicker thread. I think that really adds to it. As I say, it's puckered it a little bit, but that's okay. That's just kind of part of the surface, and that's part of quilting. Quilting can do this a little bit. I think possibly maybe I need a new needle, I don't know. I think it's just the way this fabric's responded to being free machine embroidered. It's not a fabric I would use very often, I don't think, but I just chose it for its colour. So if we put this on, you can begin to see how that could work as something in its own right, possibly. It's quite busy, but that's okay, and that might be something you would do either for something in its own right, or you do it as something as a decorative sort of stitching. Definitely looks like seaweed, I have to say. It's got that lovely sort of floaty free, but it's not interesting, inspired by a different kind of plant. Has given that feeling that it's sort of got that seaweedy feel. And then if you put this one next to it, if we just move that thing out of the way, that's really interesting, isn't it? I think for me, you'll have to let me know which one you prefer. Each one has, as I say, it's got its own merits. and you'll have to let me know which one you prefer. Do you like the light coloured one or the dark coloured one? I think it's really interesting. The jury's definitely out on this one. I think they've both got their own kind of things going on. Really interesting. So that's come out of playing with some fabrics, playing with some colours, and hasn't that been fun to do? As I say, let me know in the comments which one you prefer, and next week we'll see what's going to happen here in my studio. So I'll say thank you for being here and bye for now.